Authentic conversations over dinner with Alicia and Anaya.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Authentic Conversations. I am your co-host, Anaya, and this is
Alicia. Hey, y'all.
Alicia. Today, we're going to be talking about struggles with starting over again, sharing our experiences with overcoming fear. How does that look? So tune in. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Make sure you like, comment, or subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more information or more authentic conversation. All right, girl. So let me start off with, I'm going to talk about struggling with starting over. I have started over many times in my lifetime. I'm just gonna say that it many times in many different ways. I felt like every single time I started over, it was the closing of one chapter in my life, and it was the opening of another. And so I had to first, before I can start all over, I had to know when I had to close the door, right? Because I had to focus on, I had to say, it's time to let go. It's time to move forward in a different direction. I can no longer hold on to this life, and I need a new. I need to start over, whether that was either me taking the initiative and saying, this is not working for me, or I feel like God was kicking me in my butt and saying, look, if you don't change this, you're going to keep drowning. Okay. So you either make the decision and move, or guess what? I'm going to keep kicking your butt. So that's how I felt. So when I finally made the decision to let go, whether, like I said, it was moving from one state to the next, or moving, getting out of one relationship, or, just changing jobs, whatever that meant for me, I knew I was at a point where it wasn't working anymore. It wasn't good for me. The time had passed. Whatever I was in, whatever situation I was in, it was time for me to elevate, right? And once I made that decision, it was a difficult transition, but I can honestly say every single time I made that decision, it led me into a better place. And I'm going to say this, I wasn't meant to stay in any of those places. Even when I transitioned to the new one, I wasn't meant to stay there. I had to learn over time that it was going to take me to grow wherever I was. And then eventually I would grow out of that place and I would need to become anew. So every single time I was starting over again in a place where it was really difficult going through the transition, first letting go, going through the transition phase, and then starting something brand new from scratch. I've done that multiple times. I've moved from New York City to Virginia, from Virginia to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles, now I'm in Georgia. And I don't know if I'm going to move again. I don't know how that looks, but right now I can definitely tell you all those transitions were hard. All those transitions were needed. And I am so grateful for each and every one of them, because I grew, I built relationships, and I'm in a place now where I can say it has helped me, and everything that I've learned in those situations prepared me for where I am now. So,
yes, absolutely. And, I got to witness some of those transitions with my friend Anaya. And like I said, she's so inspirational to me. And, she did it with her family, with kids, so I'm like, whoa, if she can do it, I can do it. So I love it. And, I've also started over as well, in different aspects of my life, as far as relationships, careers. I did attend college out of state. And for me, that was a huge transition. I had never been down south, period. So, you know, when I first went off to college, that was my very first time. I didn't have my mom or my dad. I went by myself. That was a moment for me. And you know, just to talk a little bit about that, I remember when I was about 18 years old, you know, I had just graduated from high school. And, you know, my church was talking about this school down south in Tennessee. You know, it was a, you know, private college, Christian college. And, you know, I'm like, well, I hear that song, Tennessee. Who sang that song, Tennessee? Tennessee,
I
take
think
me
it's
back to where. Who sang that? Tennessee.
Unbeatable Planets. It's, who is it? I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
But that song was playing in my head. I'm like, well, I kind of want to go. I want to see what that's all about, you know? So I remember my parents couldn't really afford to fly out there with me. So they paid for my ticket. I went out there and, you know, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about it. But I remember that strengthening my faith. Oh my
Arrested
God.
Development. Sorry. I
Yes.
had to
Oh,
find
wait,
it.
who
Arrested
said
Development. Arrested Development.
Yes, girl, yes. Okay, so that song, because I heard the song, but I had
Yes.
never, you know, so, you know, I took that risk or whatnot. Not really, I didn't even realize how big of a step that was until my mom pointed it out to me one day. You know, one day she told me, she said, Alicia, I am so proud of you because for you to go all the way to another state by yourself, you didn't know anybody, you had never been there. That was huge. That was a faith moment. And that's when I realized, like, that's what faith is. You know? But, you know, Anaya, you know, like she said, with each transition, with each change, with each, you know, you starting over again, I feel like it elevates you. It elevates you in your faith. It just takes you to another level, right? And it strengthens that muscle. And so for me, starting over again, of course, it's difficult. You know, it's always a little scary, but that's why I said you got to stand on that word right here. You know, you got to stand on the word, what it says, because God is with you. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. And when I carried that with me, it strengthened me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm like, the fear disappeared, and all of a sudden, I have this strength that it's not by myself, you know. And, you know, going to school in Tennessee, I was able to meet lifelong friends that I have to this day. I was able to establish relationships. It built my courage. It helped me to let go of the things that were no longer serving me no good, you know, and it just did a lot for me. Even, you know, with careers, you know, me leaving education and coming back, you know, and possibly leaving again. I don't know. We'll see, you know, what life brings. But it built my courage, and it opened doors and new opportunities that I probably would have never had I stayed in the same place. And how you know you're supposed to move to that next place, the nudge, like Anaya says, that still small voice in your head that you hear that's saying, hey, it's time to take that leap of faith, that next step. And if you're unsure, you know, it's okay to pray. It's okay to step away for a moment and just, you know, sit still and just reflect and think about what it is that you want. What are the things, your dreams, your aspirations. Yeah.
For me, you know, it's like I realized for myself that I always had to have control of certain things. Right? And if I wasn't controlling the situation, especially as, you know, during my childhood, I couldn't control a lot of what went on in my life. Yeah. I didn't have the capacity to. But when I became an adult, I was like, I'm going to control everything I possibly can. And so there were times when I had to learn that to release that control, that it was important for me to understand that if I believed like in God, like I say I do, then I needed to release that or relinquish that control and allow him to do what's necessary in my life. So one of my favorite scriptures is, and I know this is just a little bit of it, but lean not into your own understanding, right? Because there are times when you want the outcome to come, you know, you have a certain way that you want things to happen. There are certain times where it has to look like the way you put,
Mm,
drew it out.
yes.
But you know what you want. And when it doesn't look like that, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure it's coming out that way. But when you do that, you block yourself from actually receiving the blessing that God has. And we know that we cannot fathom what God
Yeah.
has for us. Our mind we are just not capable of it. But
Yeah.
when we lean not into our own understanding and we say, I'm giving this to you and I'm letting go and I'm allowing you to take over. Oh my God, do you understand what God does for you when you can do that? It's like my control, everything in my being could not allow me to get to where I need to be. I don't have the power. I don't have that power. But when I release the control, because I realize I'm holding myself back, oh my God, it's a whole different ball game, because I've allowed God to come in my life. I have allowed him to do what he needs to do. And I've let go of what I thought it should look like. And I've let go of what I believed I had control over. And I'm telling you, God has worked miracles in my life that I didn't think, like, I didn't even fathom at all. So I just want to say that, starting over means letting go to control, letting go, releasing that, allowing yourself just to become one with yourself, with God, and allowing him to move in your life. And I'm telling you, it was so much easier. It was so much easier to just let go and say, God, take over. I'm good. Than for me to be running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to make things work out. Just didn't work.
Is good.
And I just let go, and I let the flow come in, and I let God move. And every single time money came when it needed to, every single time doors opened when it needed to, every single time I ain't even have to apply for the job. The job came to me. Okay, so let me be real. You allow yourself to just release that control, it makes things so much easier. And having faith in God and having your connection with God is so important to your growth, especially when you're transitioning.
Yes, your that spiritual growth, y'all. I mean, like I said, Anaya, she's very wise, and
I've been through it.
yes. You have to go through some things in order to get to where you are. In order to attain that wisdom and that knowledge, you do have to go through that season of just unknown. That uncomfortable season, that painful season, that season that you don't like, doesn't feel good, doesn't look good, but it's preparing you for something better. And, of course, that's what I'm learning too. And even as you go through life, sometimes doors open and sometimes the blessings start flowing. And then what I do is I create a narrative based on my situation in that moment. It's like, oh, well, this is how my story is going to go. This is how it's going to go. And then sometimes it's like, God's like, you thought it was going to go that way, but really I'm trying to take you this way. So it's constantly dying to self, because you don't know what your ending is going to look like. Yeah, things may be going this way, but that doesn't mean that that's how the ending is going to be. So it's like Anaya said, just constantly surrendering and allowing God to just move in my life and allowing him to take over and allowing him to lead and guide me, and letting go of my own self and my own ways and my own wants and my own needs. And like I said, that's constant practice though. You can't do it without this. You can't do it without this. And so, I mean, that's good. That's what I have on that. And
well, you see, I had to mute myself because my kid came in the door.
Oh no, that's a girl. Hey, authentic conversation
in the background, but no, I just wanted to say,
hi, Jackson. He wants to. Hey,
you can.
How are you? Hi, how are you, Jackson? You're on camera.
Right.
I love it.
But overall, like I look at all my experiences now, and I've said this before, where I no longer, look at anything as like a challenge. When you get to a certain place in life and like God has you, your ancestors, your spirit guide, they
Mm.
have you. Like I've had my ancestors speak to me. So I want to say that
Mm.
I know they're looking out for me. So every single move that I make is going to be a good one.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about any transitions. I don't have to worry about challenges. Like sometimes things come up and you're like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And it can stress you out and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, but then you got to come back to be like, look, God got this. I'm good. I'm
Yes,
letting it go. And then things work out perfectly. The
it
more
does.
sit there and dwell on something that you have no control over, or you stress or frustrate yourself over something, it becomes more of a challenge. And I
Yeah.
think we learn to let go, and that's a big thing for me, letting go. Letting
Yes.
go and knowing that you are taken care of, and every single obstacle that you face is just a test for you to see how
Mhm.
really grounded you are, and how focused you are, and how faithful you are.
Yes. Faith. And faith is the substance of things that are unseen.
Mhm,
So
absolutely.
that's what faith is. And you just got to constantly stay in communication with God, constantly pray, constantly ask to hear his word, wisdom, ask for wisdom. God will give it to you. And that's something I'm doing, in my journey daily, because sometimes even in the day, things don't go my way. And I'm like, wait a minute, and I feel myself getting frustrated and irritable, and where I want to cuss somebody out. That's when I have to call on God. That's where your faith has to come in, and trusting him that it's all going to work. It's all going to work for your good. And relationally too, having to let people go, I think has been the most challenging too, because sometimes we get attached to people feeling like I need this person in order to be successful, or I need this person but maybe that's not the person God has for you. Maybe you thought initially yes, but maybe they brought you to a certain place, and now it's your turn to step out on faith and to move forward without and release that. So I'm learning that relationally, career wise, and just every area of my life, just standing on the word. Yeah.
And it does, it transforms, or in every space of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it show up and it repeats itself because
Mm-hmm.
you haven't learned the lesson, or you haven't really let go and accepted
Mm-hmm.
God, or really you haven't trusted yourself
Yeah.
to know that things will be okay. I
Mm-hmm.
can honestly say, like, faith is unseen until it
Yeah.
is, right?
Right. And so you're like,
Right.
God, we was
Like
listening all
once you
along.
see it, it's like, dang, God had
Yes.
my back the whole time. I don't know what the
Yes.
heck I was stressed for. But then we go through it again and we like
Mhm.
frustrated and agitated. And then we like, dang, and God come
Mhm.
through at the end, and you like,
Mhm.
dang, I should have just, why am I
Yes.
stressing in the first place? You see it
Yes.
over and over. I had to be shown over and over. I remember each and
Mhm.
every single time when I, learned how to let go, how to start over, and knowing
Mhm.
that my last situation, moving, and I'm gonna say this, moving from LA to Georgia. Now, I
Mhm.
knew I wanted to be in Georgia before I even went to LA, wound up going to LA.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for it. I knew
Yes.
I had to go there to learn because it
Mhm.
opened doors for when I got here.
Mhm.
And so, but when I left LA, I left, a
Yeah.
six-figure, and I left
Mhm.
me, being a principal of a school, and I left, like this life that I thought I was building, that I thought was where I
Mhm.
was headed. And when I got here, I didn't have a job. I had purchased a home that I couldn't even pay for. Like, I had no job. I had no income. The only thing I probably had was my disability check coming in from VA. And I'm saying this because I'm sharing with you, like, that was all I had. I had 3 kids and whatever money I got from the support from their fathers. And I'm telling you, it wasn't enough to cover. It wasn't enough. And I still had bills. I still had a car. Thankful I had a car that was paid off. But I couldn't even, like, I started a business. I started a business with a partner, and I really didn't know where it was going. It was just starting, so it wasn't producing any income, but I committed myself to doing it. And I knew that regardless of where I go with it, I was like, I know I'm going to be okay. There are times when I couldn't even pay my mortgage, 2 months on in, and my mortgage wasn't paid. And I was like, I'm not going to worry if this house is, I know God got me this house for a reason. Okay, I know he got it for me before I left LA to have a place to be. And I knew that God wasn't going to let me fail on this because it was his blessing, right? So I knew even though I didn't have the money was going to come in some kind of way. The money came in. I was able to pay my bills. I was able to catch up. I was able to do things that I needed to do, right? And I'm telling you, like, I was like, okay, I'm pushing this business because I still love education, but now I'm in a position where I can do the work as a consultant. So I can offer my services as an education consultant and still be able to hopefully, like, do the work that I love to do, but also, try to build up and create an income for myself. Well, long and behold, I was able to actually find a job because I applied to different things, but I'm gonna tell you, I already knew it wasn't for me. I knew it wasn't for me, and I found myself applying for positions that I knew I was like, I didn't really care to get. I was like, maybe I need to do this because I need a job right now, but is it really what I want? I was like, I had gotten to a point where I said, nope, I'm not doing it no more. I said, God, I'm going to say this. If it's for me, it's for me. If it's not, it's not. If you want me to work and a door opens up, I know it's going to be easy and I'm going to jump right. It's going to be so easy. I don't even have to do much. Let me tell you how easy it was. It was easy. Okay. Everything fell right into my lap because of the work that I was already doing, because of my past situation and the position that I had. So everything just worked out perfectly. And now I'm in a better situation financially. I'm in a better mind space. I knew that God had my back and he wanted me to work things out the way I was supposed to, not the way I wanted it to work. So I'm in a position right now. It's not the same position by far from what I was doing, but let me tell you, I actually enjoy it because it's more flexible. I don't have to worry about running a building. I don't have the stress of having to be here and there and and so I'm actually appreciative and grateful for where I am right now. And I promise you, like, I wouldn't be here had I not allowed myself to take a whole year, because it was a whole year before I okay. It was almost a whole year before, I would say almost a year before I actually started working again. So I want to say that I had to just release. I had to let go, and I had to say, hey, if something is for me, it's gonna fall right into my lap. And that's how easy it was. And all those, like, I kept telling myself, stop putting in these daggone applications and stuff like that, because these are gonna be jobs that you really don't want. And I think I'm in a different place in my life right now where I know the difference between going for something that is just going to bring you more stress than doing something you actually love, that's within your passion and purpose. So I really appreciate understanding the growth that I did over the past year, me being in the house, by myself, committed to working on this business, trying to find opportunity. It showed me my potential. It showed me my capacity as far as what I'm capable of. So I know that I've grown, and I know that I can do anything I put my mind to, right? But also knowing that just because I am in a situation doesn't mean it's good, just to go for anything.
Right.
It's, you have to know what's for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, testify. Come on, you giving us your testimony, girl. And the fact that you held on to your faith. You didn't give up, even when things didn't happen immediately or as quickly. And like you said, you were behind, on your rent, but you just didn't give up. You didn't give up because you were faithful. You knew that God was going to come through. And that is what faith is, the substance of things that are unseen. And, I love it. I love it. And it's so inspiring. And I can say that I'm in the midst of that situation right now, where I'm, things aren't quite happening the way that I want them to happen, but I know that God is here. He's listening because he's done it before. That song, if he did it before, he could do it again. Right. And so I know he'll come through, but there is a lesson with everything that is happening right now, even in the midst of the storm. There is something that God is trying to show me, something that he's trying to teach me. So just continuing on, moving forward, still working on whatever it is that you need to work on. Maybe God wants you to work on your behavior, your personality. He wants to work on your patience. There's something that he's trying to build in you to prepare you for what he has for you in the future. So even in the midst of, yes,
there's always going to be storms, right?
Yes.
The thing is what your attitude around it, how you see yourself getting through it. Your attitude determines how you move through that storm and whether you make it out to the other side in a good space.
And that is absolutely true, because I haven't always had a positive attitude, but if you go about life, when things don't go your way and you just have this funky attitude and you ready to, all it's going to do is dig a deeper hole for you, or God is going to continue to take you around that same situation, that same circumstance until you, like Anaya says, until you learn, until you grow, because God is not going to fail you at the end of the day. He is not going to fail you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. So that's what I'm doing now, just standing on God's word and continuing to just move forward with a positive attitude, and if it's not positive, that's when I have to ask, Lord, help me with my attitude, because right now it's a little funky, and he'll help you. Right. Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Well, thank you guys for hearing our conversation, sharing this information with us. We appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you again. Please make sure you like, subscribe, or even share, comment down below if you've been through any of these situations. We'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, until next time.
I wanted to leave with this little verse before.
Go ahead, girl. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. From the last episode, we were talking about who your identity in Christ, and I just want to leave us with Psalms 139, verse 14. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. So just know that God has a purpose for your life, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what people even say about you or what you even think about yourself. Know that God has a plan for you. He created you for a purpose, and you are needed in this world. And never forget that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. I hope you leave with that. I hope it helps you in some kind of way. That's a powerful verse, and I know it has helped me, and it has helped Alicia as well. So thank you. Make sure you're applying these things to your life, because this will help you with these transitions, starting over, overcoming obstacles. We hope that you enjoy the conversation, and we look
Yes.
forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Authentic conversations over dinner